and other brilliant observations like that. Come on, Rick. Good luck to you. Proper DJ. um, hello. Someone said Happy Monday. I should have played Happy Mondays, shouldn't I? How are you doing? Someone said, do I not need a wee today? No, I prepared. I only had one thing today. Well, when I say I had one thing, one sort of thing that isn't sitting, thinking and writing, I did. I loved it actually. I was meant to do a live talk today at the National Film School in Beaconsfield, which would have been really good fun with all the students. Sort of like a sort of inside the actor studio type thing. And it was a thank you as well for them letting me use their studio for one day on Afterlife 2, coming soon. And we did it over Zoom. Just, doing that, apps and shit, internet, innit? All that. I know about all that. And it was great. It was like 300 students all in their own places, tuning in and asking questions. I loved it. It was, and I've only done one of those things before, really. It's a proper sort of what they call it, a masterclass. The master. I did the inside the actor studio, but that's because it's a TV show. It's a bit more of a performance, and also it was like when was it? Like 15 years ago, and I felt like I shouldn't be there, so I sort of really played it down. But now I think that I probably can give a bit of advice to youngsters. I really enjoyed it, and then I remembered. This is great. Then I remembered that after university, before I got a job in an office, I wanted to be a teacher. After I'd failed as a pop star. Yeah. So I suppose that would have been my. Still performing, isn't it? It's a. So yeah. Anyway, it was good. We could do that, but it's a little bit in, isn't it? Like if you're just asking me questions about screenwriting and directing, and that's probably that might not be interesting for 90% of you. Someone just said, "What are you talking about?" So you tuned in late. Interact with us then. Well, I am. That is, you just said something and I responded. That is an interaction, isn't it? Ask me a question. What date for Afterlife 2? 24th of April. Thank you for asking. Just over 3 weeks. And a couple of weeks before there'll be a little trailer. And a few clips, I think, with interviews. I'm still doing interviews over the phone to people that would have been in person. So yeah, that's all going ahead. Lucky we finished everything. So yeah. Beef or lamb? Neither. Don't eat meat, do I? Are you fluent in French? No. It's the only language I could just about get by on. If they were being really awkward by not speaking English in their own country, and I could do a bit of pointing, I could just about. No, I couldn't. I couldn't have a conversation. I could probably buy things in a shop and order things, but no, I was rubbish. Well, I wasn't interested. I think it's that I knew I could get by pointing and talking loudly. Okay, I'll ask me some questions then. What's my favourite dinner? I mean, you can't beat a lovely bit of pasta with olive oil and garlic and chili. I mean, all the same food that everyone, pizzas. You know, I am a real carb man, bread and pasta and things like that. So yeah, those are my. But I eat quite healthily. Why am I telling you? I think soon I'll liquidize all my food. That's easier. I never used to care about eating. Was something I used to do just when I was younger. It was just like fuel, just to stay alive, or to line your stomach before beers. But now, yeah, it's quite good, isn't it? Eating, good, fundamental. And when I was a kid, there was one or two cookery programs. There was the Galloping Gourmet, Graham Kerr, and Fanny Craddock. And there's that famous thing when she was on like a nationwide, like one of those things at 6 o'clock. She was making donuts, and it came back, and the presenter said, "Well, thank you, and we hope your donuts turn out just like Fanny's." Come on, that's good. That's funny. I got in trouble on the One Show a couple of years ago. It wasn't my fault because right, I won't name him, but the guy I was with, on purpose, it was some sort of competition, and he said Nigella Lawson won by beating off the hairy bikers. You're allowed to laugh if the innuendo is that good and smutty. You're allowed to laugh, even if you're in your 50s. That's a good point. When will I not find those sort of things funny? When you're 80, will I still giggle? If someone said, "Hope your donuts turn out just like Fanny's," would I still? Don't know. Who knows? Oh, it's so fast. There's so many of you. Get a rescue pug. All right. Always get a rescue. Whatever dog you get, always get a rescue. Fanny Craddock was a cow. Is that the beginning of a limerick? Someone just said Fanny's. Good. It's good. We've kept the tone up. We've kept the quality of these talks up, haven't we? You are a rainbow on a rainy day. Ah, that's sarcasm. What beer are you drinking? Just a little IPA. Thanks for asking. Right. Questions. It was Jay Rainey. Yes, it was. Yeah, someone else said it. Any questions? Fave childhood toy. Oh, that's a good one. First thing that came to my head, battling tops. I remember. I mean, I know people watching won't know what that is, an actual toy, as opposed to something on computer. But it was like a little. It was like a little like an amphitheatre, like a little arena, like a wok, right, made of plastic. And there was 4 stations, and it was like a spinning top that you put in, that you wound it up and you put it there, and then you all pulled it, and they span, and somebody would knock them out. I mean, very fundamental joy, that. Battling tops, that was the first thing I remember I wanted and I loved. And then my best present ever, I think, in retrospect, which I still see, a lot of these, you look back and you go, "Oh, let's have a game of that," ironically, and it's shite. I remember at some office party, they got out Sky Electrics, which I had, which I think I loved at the time. But as an adult, you're going, put it back on, put it back on, put it back on, right? So some things don't stand the test of age, like Monopoly. I love Monopoly, I think, and I don't know why. It's boring. I'm not slagging off Monopoly. It's a good idea, but I mean, for an adult, you know, 4 adults playing Monopoly, that's weird to me. But to each their own. My favourite toy, which I still love now, was Subbuteo. I thought it was amazing. It was amazing. Obviously, in the advert, it's like people are curving the ball around the wall and the goalkeepers are doing that. But I love Subbuteo. I had the cricket version as well, where it was like a weighted bat and you held the thing back and you let it go. And to catch it, they had little legs. Do you know? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Has anyone heard of battling tops? It's in the wrist action. Another innuendo, but that was the saying. It's in the wrist action. I liked hot rods. I don't know how I did it, but I remember my room in my house was obviously upstairs, and I got a track going from my bedroom window down into the garden for hot rods. How did I do that? How did I get that up there? Did I make it in my bedroom and then put it out and secure it somehow? It's a weird memory. I also used to amuse myself. I used to jump off the shed. I used to make stuff. I made a little bow and arrow once. That's mainly it. I used to make stuff. So yeah, do that. I could survive. I could survive in a post-apocalyptic. You know, I could make a bow and arrow. Right. Did you have Lego? I did have Lego, but again, because I had no money, I had just about enough Lego to maybe make a shit house. And again, you saw the advert, and you go in Hamleys, and it's like, oh, the Empire State Building. Yeah, cost you about 50 grand to make that, mate. But again, I like it. It's creative. I like Meccano. I loved Meccano. Thought that was great. I made a little crane. So that's all I could do. I could wind up the crane, hook it onto a car, and lift it up. So sad. And then once I was sort of like 13 and I knew what I was into, then I got sort of great things like a microscope and, you know, a guitar, things that don't outstay their welcome, like a toy. I had an Action Man. Again, I don't know what that was. I used to when in the bath, I used to put his hands up like that, and let him dive in, so he'd come up. So I was sort of investigating, you know, aquatic and aerodynamics in a way, not just a sad kid in a bath by himself with his Action Man. Fucking hell. What a little fucking loser I must have been. Fuck, what the... Anyway, right, ask me another question. Stickle bricks. No, that was too young, wasn't it? That was way too young, wasn't it? That was for babies, wasn't it? Stickle bricks. No G.I. Joe. No, wasn't that the American version? I think that was our Action Man, wasn't it? One came in, I think it was, I was too old for that, but one came in, was there one with movable eyes? Like, he was sort of like that, and he could sort of do that. He had like a grip in hand, no genitals. Well, first thing you check, this soldier's got no bollocks. But you can do that. He's like that. He's basically going, kill me. I've got no fucking cock. That. Kill me. Well, there you go. There you go. Favourite TV programmes growing up? Oh, okay. I think by growing up, what do we mean? Do we mean sort of 10, 11, 12, where you start? I like things like, what do I like? I love things like The $6 Million Man. I love that. That was great. Again, because it was sort of like vaguely science-based, the idea that the bionics were possible. I love that. Well, he have 2 legs, 1 arm, and an eye, didn't he? 1 eye. Thing is, he's got 2 legs, he can run fast. Good luck to him. Got 1 arm, but if he lifted up something really heavy, which he could, wouldn't his spine just break? Like, it'd just be his legs would stay there because they're really strong and bionic, and his arm would be under the car he tried to lift, and he'd just all be broken in between. He'd like, oh, go, oh, okay, now. Like that. I don't know. I love that. Love the Waltons. I think that was my favourite show. I'm getting older then, aren't I? Sort of 13. And then I suppose you discover. I loved anything about science and nature. Nerd. And then I suppose the first thing that I thought was really mine was comedy. I really liked. I mean, 40 Towers. I remember thinking this is the best thing I've ever seen. Knight Rider, Starsky and Hutch. Love Starsky and Hutch. I think Knight Rider I was too old for, but Starsky and Hutch I absolutely loved. I got my mum to knit me the same jumper that Starsky he gets out of a swimming pool in the credits, and she knitted me that. She worked it out, and it was great. And I remember I had it for years. I had it for absolute years. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but yeah, I love Starsky and Hutch. Did you watch Monty Python? I did. I watched Monty Python and I loved it. And I watched it too young, I think, because I had older brothers and sisters. So I don't know if I really loved it when I was like 9 or whether I was just joining in. But I do remember really loving it, yeah. First big influence, I think, Monty Python did. I just thought it was silly. I didn't really get the clever bits, but I just thought this grown man walking funny and people talking funny. I just thought it was, yeah, it's a lot cleverer than that, obviously. 40 Towers is amazing. I Love Lucy. I did like American stuff, yeah. The first thing that I really loved when I was old enough, and I still like it, and I look back at it and it still stands up, is Rhoda. I thought it was great. It was in New York, which was like, oh my God, really aspirational to a teenager in Reading. I thought it was really good. I like the fact that I'd never seen the central character be a really strong, sort of feisty, funny woman before, because I think they were usually props for men. All the British sitcoms was a man acting like a twat. So she was a professional, and it was, yeah, yeah, Rhoda. That was fantastic. Benny Hill, again. I don't know if I like Benny Hill. It was sort of on. I liked some bits. I thought some of it. I thought the clever bits. I sort of liked the funny songs and poems and stuff, not just the chasing people around. But yeah, I quite liked it. What else? Towers the Unexpected. Yeah. Again, I think I'm older by then. Are You Being Served? Yeah. Again, I like those mainstream things, but I think when I was younger, as soon as I got to a teenager, I wanted to identify with something a little bit cooler. I think consciously, I think you don't go into school when you're 12 and talk about some mothers do have them, unless you're acting above it. But looking back, I they all had something. I think they all had something, and the best mainstream ones were the best ones. Things like Rising Damp and Porridge and Steptoe and Son are fantastic. I liked them at the time, and I, if anything, I appreciate them more now. Did you like punk rock? My favourite thing for like 6 months. I think end of '76, half of '77. I played Never Mind the Bollocks every day. I ran home from school and played it every day. Yeah, that was great. I think they're still my favourite. I wasn't into all the punk bands, and some bands they say were punk weren't punk, that I quite liked. I never thought the Stranglers were punk or Boomtown Rats. They were sort of poppy, but the Sex Pistols were my absolute favourite band for a year, and it was hard to. I didn't leave, my other favourite things behind, like Simon and Garfunkel and Cat Stevens, and also Bowie had just come into my sort of field of vision with Heroes, and I think I knew he'd stand the test of time more than punk. Yeah. Is this interesting? The Sweeney, yeah. That was the first time I thought that was real drama. I thought this is real, this is proper gritty drama on ITV at 9 o'clock. Yeah. George and Mildred. Now, that's the thing that I loved when I was a kid, when I was little. I loved that sort of thing. And was it Doctor in the House? That was my favourite when I was sort of 8, 9, 10. I love those sort of like broad farces. On the buses. Oh, I loved On the Buses. I remember once, right? I went to, with family, went to, I think it was Newbury Show. And it was, On the Buses was still big, but had been around for a while. It must have been mid 70s, and Stephen Lewis, who played Blakey, Amy Butler, he was like a guest of honour at the show. I think he opened the show, and I never forget it. He was there in his uniform, and he was sort of signing autographs, and there was a little queue of about 20 people. And I remember looking at him and then looking over there, and there was a massive queue, like of 100 people, and that was to meet Red Rum. So there's this poor bloke who's got dressed up in his uniform, the fucking horse, which I found very amusing. Favourite film, Godfather. Until I saw that, it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Hill Street Blues, loved Hill Street Blues. Loved it. Again, I thought that was was that Bochco's first big thing, and I again, that was quality sort of network stuff. Well, that's good telly. Robin's Nest, loved it. Alf Garnett, I loved Alf Garnett. Again, I didn't really get it. What was it? What it was about class and education and all those sort of things. I just saw it as like it's a family. That's like a family, I like those things where I thought that's like us. Because you've got to realise as well that even though I'm a thoroughly modern chap, a Renaissance man, when I was growing up, it felt like it was just post-war. like when I was a kid in the 60s, there were still air raid showers in people's gardens. My nan's had an outside toilet. And things on television reflected that new generation coming in, like, you know, hippies or ne'er-do-wells or long-haired layabouts. So I sort of saw that. I thought, oh yeah, I get that. Sort of like that Victorian parent with these newfangled teenagers. So I really I've always liked social commentary. I love the Lightly Lads, and I've always snuck in a bit of social commentary, just staying short of politics. But I've always loved. And then when I saw Abigail's Party, it's just, this is too good. It's too, it's close to the bone. I love that. I love thinking, oh, that's embarrassing. Oh God, why are they acting like that? Anyway, that was good. That did turn into a little chat about TV and life and everything. Thanks for tuning in. If you did, some of you did. Cheers. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Watch telly. Ghost Town comes to Netflix on Wednesday.